Hi, Algebra 1. I bet you're wondering why we're all wearing ties today. Well, in case you didn't know, it was Mr. Lewis's birthday. So we were saying happy birthday to Mr. Lewis while making fun of him at the same time. So that's what we were doing. All right, what are you doing today? Well, what you're going to be doing today is you're going to be working on, again, those math folder notes. Now remember, math folder notes are just like 10 of these really important notes that cover the main topics of Algebra 1. And so what that means is these notes that you're going to take right now have to last a year, 2 years, 3 years, okay? So how do you take notes so that when you look at it in a year from now, you're going to understand what is going on? Okay, so let's take a look at what you were given, and we're going to look at how do we find this. So the goal for today, and I'm going to write this off to the side here, but your goal for today is to be able to write y equals mx plus b given any of these situations, meaning can you write y equals mx plus b when given a table, when given a graph, and when given a situation? Okay, so that's what we're looking for today. And that's what you're going to have to be doing always. So on your paper, let's start with the table. You're given these 2 points, 214 and 316. And so let's just say you're given any 2 points and you're like, well, I have to be able to find my M and I have to be able to find my B, but how do we do that? So let's go back here and let's put in our table. So let's put in our X, Y table here. Okay, now I'm going to put in my table, and this is what your table looks like. You already have this table on your graph, so you don't have to rewrite it. I was nice to you, and I gave you this table to start with. Okay, and when you're given a table, all you have to do is put in the numbers. Okay, so I have 214, and you can put that anywhere you want in the table. It doesn't matter where, at the top, the middle, the end. Okay, so that's my first point. Now I'm going to put my second point in, which is 316. Now remember, the clue to this is when you are looking for your equation, you're looking for 3 things. You are looking for y equals m. But what is m? Well, let's write out what m means. M is the change in y divided by the change in x. So you have to find the change in y and the change in x before you can even start with that m, okay? So find the change in y and find the change in x. Now, you'll see, and you've seen me do this all chapter, change in y is always red. Please get your red pencils out and start using red on these notes. It will help you remember in a year from now, okay? And we're gonna make B either pink or purple, there we go. And B is our starting point. So you have to find the change in y, that's one thing, change in x, that's the second thing, and then your B, or your starting point. So those are the 3 things that you have to find. So you have a table now. How do you find those 3 things when you're given a table? Well, let's come over here. Here's the y. Well, let's take a look. What is the change in y? Well, I started at 14 and I went up to 16, so my change in y is 2. Okay, check mark. I got that done. Okay, now let's look at for our change in x. Yes, get your blue out, especially if you are one to flip. If you flip the x and y's, color code them. I promise you're not going to flip them if you take the time to color code them. So then here I started at 2 and then I went to the right 3. Oh, my change in x is plus 1. So now I know my slope. Okay, so my slope equals 2 over 1. All right, excellent. So there's my slope. And here is my change in x. Okay, but I'm not done. I got to come over here and find this purple thing, that B, my starting point. And here's why I really like the table, is because you can keep going in your table. So let's keep going in our table here. Think about what would be the next point in the table. Well, okay, if I keep going down by 1, this will be 4. And if I keep going up by, or if I go to the right 1, that'll be 4. If I go down another or up another 2, that's 18. But if I keep going this direction, will I ever run into x equal to 0? No, I'm never going to run into x equals 0. So what can we do? I know one of you said it out there. You have to work backwards. So now let's work backwards. You can subtract 2. You don't have to work in the same direction all the time. Okay, so let's work through this table backwards. Okay, so if I work backwards, this becomes 2 minus 1 is 1, and 1 minus 1 is 0. All right, and then I get 14 minus 2 is 12, and there it is. My B is 10. So now I know my B, and B is a coordinate point, so don't forget that. Remember, you're looking for when x is equal to 0 and your y is 10. So my B is 0, 10, but we're just going to use that 10. All right, now remember, that is what it looks like when you're given a table. Okay, so you're looking for the change in y, the change in x, and your b. That's how you find it when you're given a table. Okay, so now let's go and look at the graph. Well, let's put in a couple points here. Let's put in our points. So 2, and this is hard to read, guys. Just try your best. 214 is here, and 316 is like right here. Okay. And so we now have to figure out what is my change in y and my change in x through this guy. So let's draw our line here. Okay, I'm going to draw my line through those points. Okay, so I'm drawing my line through those points. And I might make my points again. I might have to make them a different color so you guys can see them. Okay, so now draw your graph, guys. All right, I'm going to make that white, and I'll make that point white. Okay, so those are my 2 points. And I think I'll make them yellow. Okay, so there's one point, and here's another point. So I have to ask myself, how am I getting from one to the other? What does change in y and change in x look like on a graph? So get your reds out. Everybody get your red colored pencils out. And remember, our change in y is that vertical distance. So it's that guy right there. So we know that that is up 2. Okay. All right, let's get your blue pencil out, because now we're looking at our change in x, and our change in x is 1. Okay, well, where do you find the pink or the y-intercept? Well, you come over here, there's x equal to 0. Oh, and there it is. There's my starting point. So there's my starting point of 0, 10. All right, nice. Now we have done 2 out of the 3 situations that you have to be able to find change in y, change in x, and b. You have to be able to find it if you're given a table, if you're given a graph. Ooh, now let's take a look at the situation. So in order to join Planet Fitness, there's an initial fee of $10. There's also a $2 monthly fee. How much will you spend if you go to the gym for 11 months? I have to be able to extract all of that out. So what does it mean for $2 a month? Think about slope is a fraction. So we're looking for our change in y. So $2 per month. There it is. $2 represents our change in y. Take the time, yes please, with your red colored pencil or crayon or marker, highlight that. You have to be able to show where the change in y is in every single picture, graph, table, situation that we give you. Okay, let's take a look at change in x. Well, that's a month, okay? You get that for a month. So this is going to be my change in x. Almost done. Now I need my purple. So what happens at the very beginning? How much money do you owe at the very beginning of this? Oh, it's an initial fee of $10. There it is. And there is my B. All right, let's just stop and recap what we've done here. We have found the change in y, the change in x, and our starting point when given a table, when given a graph, and when given a situation. Remember, that's all we're asking you to do on this next short cycle. Can you write y equals mx plus b given any form of a line? And so now let's formalize this. Okay, so our equation is y equals mx plus b. The number one thing that students do, especially on these notes, they're not going to color code them. Okay, so take the time to color code, but also color code them, but also really write out the meanings. What is M? What is the B? Okay, so now we have this guy. We know we have y equals, and in every single one of these, we found our change in y to be 2. Look at all the reds, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. So I'm going to write this in red. Slope is always a fraction, guys, so I'm going to make my fraction bar. All right, so this is going to be plus 2. So my slope is going to be change in y of 2 and my change in x of 1. And then my b is going to be plus 10. Notice we don't need the 0 anymore. Okay, that just lets us know when x is 0, y is 10, and that's the equation of the line. So if you were going to write this out nicely, and this is how it would look, okay, this is what it looks like. Ooh, I'm going to type this in black. Y equals 2x. Now, if you put the over 1, it's fine, plus 10. Take the time to color code. When you do the short cycle, one of the biggest mistakes we see is that students will say, oh, the slope is 1 over 2 or a half. They flip that x and y. If you take the time, just like here, to show that the slope is red over blue, and you're using that same color to find the b, you will be much more successful. Slow down. It's 10 questions. You don't need to go fast. Now, I want you to look at this, okay? These notes right here is what it would look like. You have over here what M and B, you color coded it. So when you go back in a year to look at these notes, you're going to see, oh yeah, I remember red over blue. Oh, I remember how you find this given a graph. I remember how to find given a table. Okay, trust us, it'll pay off when you take these good notes. All right, good luck. Good luck, Algebra 1. Pause the video here if you need to finish these notes. Bring them to the next class because Mr. Hogsett, Mr. Evans, and myself and Mrs. O'Day will be checking these notes to make sure they are correct. So pause the video, make sure you have all of this information down and color-coded, and we'll see you in class. Bring these notes and good luck on that short cycle.